I often, you're not ready for this segment. I often talk about how Trump, especially in the wake of Harris becoming his opponent and him now trailing in the polls, how he's falling apart. Right? But that's not usually something I'm saying literally. But it seems he's also literally, physically falling apart. I was sent by a viewer named Christopher. I was sent over Twitter DMs a link to this ABC local interview that Trump conducted right after that Asheville, North Carolina economy speech that we covered. And in it, I truly have never seen this before. But Trump's eyebrow just starts to droop off of his face and cover his eye. I didn't know eyebrows could do this. And if you're watching on a small device, after I play clips, while I'm talking, or maybe while we're doing it, we'll edit it so it can zoom in and show sort of more zoomed in what I'm talking about, and then maybe some still shots around me at some point. Thank you, Jaden. And this to me is funny. This is lighthearted. We're joshing around. But also is a physical representation. His eyebrow is trying to escape his face because it's such a disaster that's going on. Even the eyebrow doesn't want to have anything to do with Trump's campaign. Whew, okay, here we go. And as it goes along, it seems to be sort of peeling off more, which I didn't know you could buy. You know how they have those little stick-on mustaches that you can wear for a disguise? Maybe he has one of those on his eyebrow and it's peeling off. No, it's his real eyebrow, obviously. But I honestly didn't know this was even possible. Like, I can't peel mine down like that. Anyways, hopefully if any of you have struggled with this, I'm not offending anybody. I didn't know this was something eyebrows could do.
We'll just jump right in. Before we jump into the economy, I do want to know, this was considered an intimate policy discussion. Do you see yourself doing more of these types of events as compared to rallies?
Well, it's thousands of people in a beautiful place, and you had a lot of thousands of people outside, so we'll do a combination of both. This was really on the economy largely, and crime. But we enjoyed it, they enjoyed it, it's very important.
The economy is the number one issue to voters, again, in a big way.
So again, I'm going to respond to the substance too, probably. But as it goes along, it seems to just be, let me out, let me go, I don't want to be on your face anymore. And we'll just call that, like I said, a metaphor, a physical representation of what's going on with this campaign. But by the way this was introduced was, hey, so today you had a more intimate conversation, rally, event about the economy where you really grappled with the policy and the facts. I don't know if that happened.
Especially that includes swing voters in very crucial swing states like North Carolina. They want specific economic policy promises. Specifically, what can you tell me what the average American household can save per month, per year, under another Trump tax cut?
Well, they'll be per year, they'll be saving many thousands of dollars. We're going to bring energy prices down to a level that they haven't seen since 4 or 5 years ago. We were energy independent. We were going to soon be energy dominant. We'll have energy prices down. I believe we'll have them cut by 50% and even more.
Look.
I believe we'll have them cut by 50%.
It's covering his eye. Do eyebrows do that? They cover your eye? Wow.
And even more. And that's going to bring everything else down, automatically bring everything else down. They destroyed this country with their energy policies. That's what originally created inflation, and then it just took over with groceries and everything else. It just became a horrible hornet's nest. But we'll be bringing energy down by 50, 60%. That's a lot. And with a year, maybe a year and a half at the most.
Kamala Harris could inherit what's called the middle and working class tax credit from...
Okay, so now I got to respond to the substance, then we'll look at more. And I know it's not the most substantive thing ever to obsess over the eyebrow thing, but it gave me a giggle. I wanted to share it with you. But he gets asked whatever he got asked about, and then starts talking about his normal energy points. Does he understand that if all of a sudden you cut energy prices by 50, did he say 50 to 60%? That would be an economic disaster. And he references when prices were way lower under him, for example, gas prices. Yes, we don't want to go back to the period of time when gas prices hit the floor because there was no demand for gas, because people weren't driving, because we were stuck in our homes, and you were mismanaging a pandemic, which was keeping us there longer. We don't want to go back to that economic disaster that, yes, one of the things was cheap gas, which didn't mean much to us at the time because the economy had collapsed. So it's not great to be in a collapsed economy setting, even if the gas is cheap. Not to mention, if he believes the way to cut prices is just simply undoing what's happening under Biden or something, and what he's thinking of is increasing domestic energy production, how does that make sense if we're producing more energy than he was producing? We're breaking records right now as a country, both with energy at large and with oil and gas specifically. So what are you talking about?
From the Biden administration, this is just a proposal that would save American families, according to that, $6,000 a year, or bring in $6,000 a year. That they would repeal your 2017 tax law to do that. How does that make you feel, and how does someone from Western North Carolina take all of that in?
Well, they'll be paying 3 and 4 times more taxes if they do. I got the largest tax cut that has been given, bigger than Reagan, bigger than anybody. And it expires fairly shortly into the next administration. If they cut that, if they don't do anything with it, if they don't.
How does this not bother him whenever sorry, I'm still stuck on it. When he's looking over to the camera and you can see his eyes peering through his eyebrow, how does that not bother him at all? Wouldn't he want to sort of push it up?
Don't extend it or do something with it, the people of North Carolina will pay 4 times more tax than they're paying right now. And I would say politically that would be a death bell for them, but they've done a horrible job. I don't think they understand what's happening. She's a radical left person from.
So the normal things there, but let's move forward to respond to this. Obviously, she would not raise your taxes for X. That's what they said about Biden. Then he didn't do it. The only people he's raising taxes for are those making above $400,000 per year. And I think that can be afforded.
Let it happen.
One more on this. Kamala Harris says her day one promise, if elected, would be attacking price gouging in America to help with daily expenses. What is Donald Trump's day one promise?
Well, there's no such thing as her going out and doing that. What you want to do is create the incentive so that people can't cheat. They can't price gouge. And the way you do that is drill for oil and get everything down, and all of a sudden people can't do that. They can now because there's such a scarcity of everything. You can price gouge. But when there is an abundance of everything from food to oil and gas, from energy of every kind, there'll be no price gouging. There won't be, because there won't be any way they could get any money for it.
Okay, then I say again, how is it that everything's not perfect now, given that energy production is higher than it's ever been in the United States? Maybe it's a more complicated story. Maybe a lot of this has to do with the international market. But all Trump tells his followers is drill, baby, drill. So clearly he doesn't have a solution then, because we're doing that. We're doing that more than he could ever do it. It's shocking. Both the way that his eyebrow is covering his eye and the way that while his eyebrow's falling out, his lies are coming out through his teeth. He's lying through his teeth. You get the point. You know the phrase. It's stunning that MAGA folks are willing to accept when they could just Google and go, oh, maybe that it's not as simple as that, given that right now we're doing the thing that he says is the singular solution to everything. And also, what's your plan to create more food? Has he laid out a policy on that? Ooh. The majority of people who regularly watch this show aren't subscribed to it. That's kind of crazy, right? If that applies to you, do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Easy, free, but makes all the difference. I appreciate it. Back to the video.
You said just a short time ago, the economy in your mind may not be the biggest topic happening right now. Why did you say that, and what would you say it is?
Well, it seems to be the economy if you look at polls, but I also think it's the border. It's millions and millions of people coming into.
And that we've heard more times than you could possibly imagine, so we'll go here.
Check, they have to be vetted. We have to make sure they're going to love our country.
Western North Carolina could be the key to winning the state of North Carolina. North Carolina could be the key to winning the entire election. What are your thoughts on winning? This is a state you won with under 50% of the vote in 2020. What are your thoughts on winning North Carolina?
Well, we won it pretty well and pretty easily twice. We won, if you look at the primaries, we won them very easily too. Sometimes you'll have a lot of people running, a lot of people in there, but we won them quite easily. I think I'm helped by Laura Trump, who's, as you know, born here, named her child Carolina. So, you know, Carolina is a very...
I hate to shock any of you, but I have so many negative thoughts about Trump. I know you know that. One thing I wouldn't dare question is the power and strength of his eyebrow hair glands. Okay? The genes there are working because you could braid the eyebrow and it could sort of droop over the eye. That is a lot of eyebrow hair. Wow.
Very cute child named after a certain place that we happen to be in right now. So I just think that we're going to do very well. I think I am helped by somebody that is a fantastic mother and wife to my son Eric, and I think that gives me a big advantage. But they like me. They like my policies.
Last thing, I promise. Do you notice how there's not really hair there? So is it actually just falling off? And now it's just going to hang like that? Maybe have to super glue? A little Elmer's glue? I know Elmer's is not super glue. I switched concepts there mid-thought. Because that's not viable. People say all these different things about the importance of appearance in a presidential candidate. I think if half your eyebrow comes off, you can't be president, can you? Like, he called for the termination of the Constitution, said the government should go after media outlets, is a civilly liable sexual abuser, has disparaged veterans, mishandled a once-in-a-lifetime crisis, tried to block the people's transfer of power, but also, all those things were accepted by the American people, it seems. But half an eyebrow falling off, can we accept that?
Want to remain solvent. I mean, you know, we're a country right now with us of common sense. We can be conservative. We are conservative, all of that. But we're really, more than anything else, we want to be, and we're the party of common sense. We want a wall. We want low taxes. We want a strong military. We want great things. And they don't have them anymore. What they're doing is unbelievable. They're destroying our country. And just like California has been destroyed, just look at California. People are leaving California. They're moving out of California. Just like San Francisco, where she was, is just absolutely a disaster. We're not going to let them do that to our country. We're a party of common sense.
Last question, Mr. President.
So I guess the question there was, can you explain how you're going to win Northwest North Carolina? And his answer is, Laura grew up here. One of Laura's children's named Carolina. And we're not going to let this do the country. All right. By the way, one of the things Trump said in this interview, to focus a little bit more on substance, a few times, was fear-mongering about crime and saying that Biden's border policies that he mischaracterizes are leading to a surge in crime. Because my regular viewers have heard me fact check that so many times, I'll play this fact check of it.
All right, Steve, what does the data show?
Well, you know, it was supposed to be an economic speech, but he can't help himself, and he has to get off into things like migrants and immigration and the border and crime and all that kind of stuff. But once again, the facts are not quite what he said. First, let's just talk about crime in general. He likes to think the country's in the middle of some crime wave. That is actually not true. Violent crime per 100,000 people has dropped 26% under Joe Biden, from an average of 398 per 100,000 people down to 294. What is even more amazing is that it, in fact, ended Trump's administration slightly higher than when it began. Or certainly, at best, most favorably, you can't see any improvement under Trump's administration. All the improvement has been under the Biden administration.
MAGA, are you seeing this? Are you seeing it? Look, everyone look together. Trump, push the eyebrow out of the eye so you can see it, and look at these stats. If you want less crime, the stats tell you a continuation of the policies we've been seeing would be your best bet. You never know. Maybe this is all just by happenstance. As Trump likes to say, the stock market's doing well because of him somehow, even though that makes no sense. Maybe crime's going down because people, as he asserts about the stock market, are expecting him to win. It's a crazy world. You never know. Criminals could say, I was going to commit a crime, but Donald Trump's going to be in a few months, and so I'm not going to. But your best bet would be a continuation of the policies we've been seeing. I don't think this one gets over to energy production, but he talks about also the stats on crimes when you compare U.S.-born citizens, undocumented immigrants, legal immigrants, etc. But later on, I guess he did the same fact check about energy production that we've done so many times. Let me know what you thought of that. A little bit more of a silly segment, I get that, okay? So if that's a criticism you levy, it'll be mad at you. But if you appreciate the work this show does and you want to support it, you can do so by clicking the join button below.